49ers getting a little bit closer to punching that ticket to the playoffs, beating the Falcons 31-13. Rapid React podcast here. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker to break it all down for you. Key players, key plays, and game balls from Week 15 coming up right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you at BD Peacock, at Eric_Crocker. Never in doubt, right? Croc fumbling the opening kickoff and then even a little bobble on the second one after kicking it short. JaMychal Hasty. And the Niners, I mean, it was amazing, right? Croc, you to watch those 49ers say, okay, you're going to put us in that position to start the game on defense. Cool. 4 and out at the goal line, no problem. In the game, you want to come back and win this game and then try to onside kick and try to pull those shenanigans and come back on us and beat us? No, 4 and out twice. It was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing to see what the 49ers were able to do, and really dominating up front, I think, was the big key in this one, right? By the way, thanks for joining me live from Las Vegas, Croc. I saw that huge sports bar you were watching the game at. So I hope you're properly fired up for this one. And I know you had a victory drink in hand. So yeah, get loose.
I got the victory drink in hand. It was cool, just kind of, relaxing. And the way my flight thing is set up, I can move my flights around and fly in and out whenever. And I pushed it out to where I fly out to Sacramento, your neck of the woods, tonight. And then my buddy came through, so I just ended up pushing it out to tomorrow. But it was cool watching all the games, drinking, eating, just talking with some other 49er fans. I probably should have said, hey, I do a 49er podcast. But, I try to just kind of be a little incognito.
Okay, so, your low profile. Yeah, I mean, you want to be signing autographs and stuff, taking you away from the game, take away from your focus there if you let people know who's showing up in their sports bar of choice.
I will say this, though. You touched on the opening kickoff and the fumble. And my initial reaction was, here we go. Here we go. And just what you can't do as a 49ers against a team that you are better than. And we're 49ers showed that throughout the game, and we'll get into that. But early on, I was just like, all right, don't make this more difficult than it has to be.
Yeah, and that was our keys to victory, right? That was the only way that the 49ers were clearly a better team than the Falcons. That was the way you were going to lose a game, is do stuff like that. And it was amazing to see the 49ers come back. And the way I put it on Twitter was that Ryan's saving Richard Hightower's job in some ways because of the defensive job they did to make it so those mistakes didn't sting. I think one of the keys, though, after that, losing that opening kickoff fumble, the Niners didn't turn the ball over, right? Jimmy Garoppolo was just hyper efficient in this game. Not sacked a single time, not throwing the ball to the other team. There were no fumbles by the 49ers, giving the ball away to those Atlanta Falcons. There was...
Real quick, you talked about Jimmy Garoppolo not turning the ball over or anything like that. There was one fumble that they might put on him because he's the quarterback. They kind of fumbled the exchange. But aside from not taking any sacks, he did a really good job a few times of improvising. And I think that's what I want to see, right? There's times where I'm critical of Jimmy Garoppolo in the moment. But really, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, Jimmy, we just need you to make a play. And what he did a couple of times in the pocket where guys hanging on him and get the ball, he just made a play. It wasn't there to be made, right? Like in the sense of everything blocked up and it's just perfect or whatever. Or, oh, man, I got a free runner at me. There were times they have free runners out at him. He's getting hit. He's getting the ball off. He's completing. He's not getting behind the sticks. Guys hanging on him, getting the ball out to the running back. But at the end of the day, is you got to figure out how to make a play. And I've been critical on him about that. And I thought he did a terrific job in this game doing just that.
The touchdown pass to Jennings too. I mean, they had a blitzer coming from deep. One of the safeties coming on a blitz right up the middle, and he got rid of the ball quick and decisively. I thought Jimmy was awesome, and he was just a dart thrower out there. Only 5 incompletions on the game, 18 of 23 for 235 yards. The 1 touchdown pass, no interceptions. Quarterback rating of 123.7. Just a fantastic game. And when you're playing good defense, when you're running the football, and Jimmy Garoppolo is that efficient in the passing game, I think it'll be hard for the 49ers to lose if they can do that every week. Now, I don't think they're going to be playing opponents like the Atlanta Falcons every week, and especially when you start getting into the playoffs. But like, this is a complete team win, winning every phase of the game except for essentially the opening kickoff that they lost, and that was about it.
If we do want to, say some things that kind of, I don't want to say bring it down to reality. I thought the 49ers did what they needed to do for the most part, right? Like, they pretty much dominated that game. Definitely took a few goal line stands to make it look like what it ended up looking like. Terrific job by the defense there. But there were, like always, a few things that I took note of. And I was just like, I am a little worried about that. So I know we'll kind of get into some of the things, but overall, when you look at a team like the Atlanta Falcons, I think they're like dead last in DVOA on like offense and defense. So this is a team that you're supposed to dominate. And I thought the 49ers overall really did a terrific job of doing what they're supposed to do. And if you're going to be the team that we think you are, and we've talked about this early on with games against like the Eagles and some of these other games that they let get away from them. And I'm like, man, if you're the team that we think you are, you got to win those games. Well, they were the team that we thought they were today. They dominated a team that they were clearly better than. That was a great win.
I want to get to the defensive side of the ball a little bit and some of the things the 49ers did to take away pretty much everything on the Falcons offense, and they had to result to one thing essentially. And so I want to get to that in a little bit. But first, Croc, at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, 49ers had this game in hand up 31-13. I was a little surprised Shanahan didn't start pulling his starters because of how much the 49ers were dominating up front. Not even all the starters, but just Debo getting carries up the middle at running back.
Yeah, I saw that late. Like, dude,
Matt Ryan.
Those are things that you leave.
Was still in there.
You leave yourself open for criticism when you do things like that. You have a Debo Samuel, and again, it's not like you got to take all 22 starters out, but there are certain people like a Debo Samuel who is just, I don't want to call him injury prone, but he's been a little banged up over the last few weeks. And you kind of low-key had him on the pitch count last week. But then this game, when it's out of hand, you're running him up the middle just so he could take more pounding. To me, that, again, I don't want to complain in a win, but just things where it's like, what do you think? You can't just run with Hasty? You got to run with Debo, who's coming off of a growing, and maybe he's 100% great, but let's not risk it because at any moment, Debo can run a certain way, step a certain way, and then all of a sudden you lose him in a game where you're up 31-13.
Yeah, and more than anything, looking ahead too on the short week, playing on the road in Nashville Thursday, just trying to conserve some snaps for some of your best players when the game is in hand. You're not giving up, you're not letting up, but you could let another player take a couple of those carries rather than Debo Samuel. At the very end of the game, Matt Ryan was pulled out of the game for the Falcons. Nick Bosa was still in the game on the defensive line. It's like a few of those things, like some players that are too important to have out there and be taking extra hits. But I think it just shows how intense, and like we've known this and we've talked about it throughout the year, how intense Kyle Shanahan is on game day wanting to get that win. And he doesn't like pulling the starters. He doesn't like, he talked about even as far as the season goes, when the 49ers season wasn't going great, it's like, no, we're not mathematically eliminated. So we're not going to put in Trey Lance. We're not going to change anything right now.
He was right for that, right?
Right.
Look at it now, 49ers sitting at 8-6. And it's like, all right, you're right. That's why you get paid the big bucks. And Eric Crocker is just a podcaster.
And it was way too early to sort of, wave a white flag. But at that point, it was like, the question was, well, is the rookie ready to go? But obviously
that wasn't the question for me.
Well, the question was, can the rookie be as good as bad quarterback play that we're already getting? And then you're making him better in the future because he's also getting snaps. But
I think it still goes back to what we've been saying about the situation with the quarterbacks, where it's not even so much about Jimmy Garoppolo, but when Jimmy, and at times was playing well, but it's like, you're 2-4. And if you take another L, what are you playing for right now with a quarterback, no matter how good or bad Jimmy Garoppolo's playing? you are losing more games than you're winning. At what point do you go to the quarterback? So to the rookie. So I think that's where, and people get confused by that. I get into these conversations on social media at times. They think that I just want to play Trey Lance no matter what. And obviously, if we're talking about before the season, yeah. But when you have Jimmy Garoppolo, I understand what the dynamics of that situation is. You have Jimmy Garoppolo, you're expected to play at a certain level and win games. And when you're not winning games, regardless of how he's playing, at what point do you get the rookie in there? So that was the conversation. And even then, within some of those wins, a lot of it was everybody talking about how much you have to take the ball out of Jimmy Garoppolo's hands, how much you have to run the ball 40 times to get a victory with him. So that's where the conversation stemmed from. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play like what he did against Atlanta, again, the lowest DVOA whatever team, we get it. But if he's going to play more like that, then you won't hear a peep about Trey Lance from me, because I understand like that's the quarterbacking we need from Jimmy. And if you're going to hold off Eric Crocker from talking about Lance, that's how you do it.
Yep, carve him up, complete passes to a number of different players, big plays here and there. It was really a pretty game by the 49ers offense.
The slant to Ayuk, the slant to Debo, where they had catch and run. And that's an underrated aspect of Jimmy Garoppolo's game, putting the ball in position right there for guys to catch and run and not break stride. Those are big chunk plays. That was awesome to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to quote Kyle Shanahan after the game, he did say, all I was thinking about is the last time we were up 14 on these guys in the fourth quarter, we lost. So clearly that 2019 game still in the back of Kyle Shanahan's mind, and he wasn't going to take the foot off the gas pedal until the clock said triple zeros. And when it did, the 49ers won it 31-13. Let's get into the defensive side of the ball next. Of course, we're going to give out some game balls as we do after this big win for the 49ers. Maybe take a peek at that playoff picture as well. But I want to tell the folks out there about Boost Mobile. You listen to podcasts for the power of the inside track. You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money, because with Boost, you get the power of free 5G so you can listen to the latest episodes and keep up with your favorite players and teams. The power of 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line so your family can share all the insights, and the power of one of America's largest 5G networks so you can do it all at the speed of 5G. With all that money you'll save, and with all that edge you'll gain, just how powerful you become. Switch to Boost Mobile and find out, and get a free Samsung Galaxy A32 5G when you switch to one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Free phone limited to new customers and 1 per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers coverage not available everywhere or for all phones and networks. See boostmobile.com for details. Okay, Crocky, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball a little bit. How about Ambry Thomas? And that was, as it turned out, look, Cordero Patterson, 11 carries for 18 yards. 1.8 yards per carry. 1.6 yards per carry. Mike Davis, 6 carries for 21, 3.5 yards per carry. 49ers front was dominating. They couldn't get anything going there. The 49ers linebackers were playing awesome. Fred Warner was just flying around. Like, he had some extra fire in this game. There was the safeties, Tart and Ward, playing very well. So Atlanta said, and Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff sat back and thought, well, we got to try the rookie. And they tried him, and they kept trying him, and they chucked it deep multiple times. Russell Gage got him in the end zone over the top. Kyle Pitts got him in the fourth quarter. It was pretty awesome to see Kyle Pitts over there lined up as a wide receiver, and how big and how athletic he is and how tall he is. And with that single-digit number, you almost don't realize it's a tight end at first, and then you realize he's too big to be a wide receiver. It's like, oh, okay, that's Kyle Pitts out there on the outside right now. But how do you think about the 49ers secondary? And were you surprised that they said, you know what, we're going to go after Ambry Thomas, and we're going to chuck it deep? And how do you think Ambry Thomas did? I feel like he's in good position sometimes. But one of the big things that happens to him is I don't know if it's a panic, but he just can't quite finish the play. So it's like one small thing that he can't get right on a play, and it ends up being a big play the other way.
Yeah, you can't be that much of a liability. Now, listen, I'm all for playing rookies, and there's going to be some people like, you can't have it both ways, and I might be one of those. You can't have it both ways. rookies are going to have their struggles at times. And clearly he did. But it's one thing to get beat here and there, right? Josh Norman, he got beat downfield, one time. Okay, you get beat one time, whatever. You get beat 2 times. Oh, okay. But he was getting beat at an alarming rate. Even for someone like me who wants to come to the defense of the defensive back. Shout out to Jaquiski Tartt, had a great game. But even someone like me who wants to defend the defensive backs all the time, I thought that was a little excessive in which how he was getting beat, where they were just saying, we're just going to drop back and throw it up on him. Now, this isn't a one-time thing. Obviously, like, the Bengals game and what happened in that game, all right, whatever. But you go back to the first game against the Lions, you go back before that to the preseason games. These are things that have been happening to Ambry Thomas consistently. So for whatever reason, if I want to take a positive from this, he's in position. That's more than half the battle. Like, just being able to be in position to make a play on the ball. So I'm not worried about him from an ability standpoint, but you have to make the play. You have to. And it was just a little worrisome at how often he just was not, especially when being in position to do so. The touchdown play to Gage. If it was just a touchdown play, all right. But again, I'm watching. I'm like, he's right there. Just be stronger with the hands. Violent hands. That's what they teach us. Violent hands. So I think he was going up to intercept the ball and not knock it away. So he didn't have like the violent hands to rip through the arms and break up that ball. I think that's what happened there. But then when it happens again against Gage, and then it happens, and then you have an opportunity for an interception while guarding Pitts, where you're over the top in a bail. Awesome. Great positioning. And then it just goes off of your chest and you let Pitts take the ball away from you, where he almost potentially made a circus catch. Those things, it can't happen. And then it just continued to happen, like those type of plays. So to me, it got to the point where, although I understand that rookies will have their ups and downs, that was equivalent to like a 4-interception game by a rookie quarterback. And at what point are you going to say, you know what, I can't let you lose the game for us? And that's where I was with him. Now, they stuck with him, and I like that. I like that the fact that they want him to kind of play through those moments. But moving forward, that's something that he has to figure out. Why aren't you winning at the catch point? I do believe it's more of a confidence thing. He had another ball go right off his hands on like one of the first drives on a deep comeback. There's just these little things where I'm just like, okay, he potentially might be thinking too much. He might be trying, like, so focused on, the ball is coming towards me, instead of just react, dude. You've been playing cornerback all your life. You're a terrific athlete. Just react and play cornerback like you can. And maybe those are the conversations they're having with him. But even then, it was alarming, because if I'm Tennessee, I'm coming out and I'm just chucking it deep anytime I see number 20 lined up on the right side of the offense.
Yeah, especially if you've got A.J. Brown or Julio Jones coming back in that game. That's definitely where you're going to go. And he's going to have a target in his back until he starts making the plays and taking it back the other way. And he almost did have that interception. And then Kyle Pitts almost took it back away from him. That was a wild play. Then ended up being an incomplete pass because nobody could control the ball and have their feet in bounds. But
for how everybody talks about Josh Norman, he never had a game like that. Now, again, this is a rookie, and he might have to take, his lumps. I get it. But even then, it comes to a point where it is a little bit excessive in the sense of you making plays too. And I think that's the part where we're not getting from him yet. I want to see some signs of fight, like you fighting back, and I'm not getting that. Like, I can deal with it. If you're getting bombed on a couple times, whatever. All right, let's figure it out. But you have to make plays in the process, and even plays when he's in perfect position to do so, he's not making them. So that is a little worrisome for me, even for a rookie.
Yeah, it does seem like the game's a little bit sped up for him still right now. And I guess that's to be expected for a guy who didn't play last year, right, at Michigan because of COVID.
No.
And hasn't taken that many snaps in an NFL game. You don't think the speed of the game is going to be a little bit more difficult? And maybe he's thinking about, okay, well, I've got the hands to the face last week, so I got to worry about this technique now too, on top of running with guys who are NFL athletes. You don't think so?
I do think, in a sense, that the game could be sped up from that standpoint of understanding his responsibility and things. But At some point, you're playing football and you've been playing all your life. Now, again, yes, the game can be faster for a rookie cornerback in the sense of some things that he's asking to have to do on the fly. But you are in perfect position. So regardless of if the game might be sped up or whatever, you're right there. You just have to make the play now. And I know a lot of people say, well, he sat out last year and stuff like that. Dude, it takes a few, like 2 weeks into OTAs to start to get back in the rhythm of going full speed, guarding guys, and being competitive. After that, like you done went through training camp, you done went through preseason, you done played in all those games. So that whole thing of not playing last year, that is way out the window. We are in week 14 or whatever it is of the NFL season. You have to. It's time. It's time now.
Yeah,
and not to be great. Excuse me. I know I keep cutting you off. Not saying that he has to be great, but it's time to. You have to make some plays. I can live with you giving up plays, but you have to make plays as well. And that's what we haven't gotten from him. And not just over these last couple of games. I'm talking about over the entirety of him being with the 49ers. Deommodore Lenoir, he's gotten beat. He got bombed on, but he's also made a bunch of plays. We need to see that from Ambry Thomas now.
Croc, how long did it take you to get back into it when you played that? You played a game recently, right? And if I'm not mistaken, did you give up the game-winning touchdown, by the way?
I gave up the game. I gave up the game-winning touchdown.
Did you try to tell people how long it's been since you played? Was that part of it?
Yeah, but that was, we're talking about years. Dude. Like literally years. And no OTAs, no training camp, no preseason. That's just haven't played at all. Oh, by the way, go guard this guy. And you're a former NFL player, go guard their best guy. And I shut him down for most of the game. I didn't give up my first catch until the game-winning touchdown, which I was gassed. I was shaved. Terrible.
Oh, yeah. But they definitely weren't bombing on you all game. There was not a target on 41 Crocker's back.
No, not at all. That would have been a mistake for most of the game. Not the
or number 6. Okay. I don't know what number you were wearing out there.
No number.
Okay. Oh, no number at all. They're just Crocky. Everyone knows who Crocky is. You don't need a number. All right, we got to move on. Give out some game balls here. A couple of more notes from this huge win. Playoff picture as well, updated as of this game, although games got moved, so still have some things to figure out with the NFC playoff picture with the wild card. But you know what? The 49ers don't have to rely on anybody else. That's coming up next. We'll finish up this Rapid React episode of Locked On 49ers next. This holiday season, grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or even better than a candy bar, Built Bar, filled with so much holiday goodness, rich, decadent flavors, bringing in new flavors all the time, special holiday flavors like gingerbread, eggnog, caramel macchiato, caramel delight, of course, all the usual flavors, coconut, almond, coconut brownie chunk, peanut butter brownie, some of my favorites, mint brownie, cookies, and cream. You can find Built Bars for as low as 130 calories with 17 grams of protein and only 4 grams of sugar. So it'll keep you satisfied and you can feel good about it. The best of both worlds, delicious and healthy. Give you that extra fuel to go out there and maybe do some last minute shopping. I tried to do some last minute shopping, by the way, and I picked up a couple items. I went to the checkout stand. The line was around the corner. I put those items back on the rack and went back home because I am not going to fight that because I didn't have a Built Bar. I wasn't fueled for standing in that line. So make sure you get a Built Bar before you head out to the shopping malls if you're trying to do some last minute shopping. Go to Built.com, promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Hope Crocky put another $500 down on the San Francisco 49ers in this game. BetOnline had a pretty big number, and the 49ers blew it out of the water with this 31-13 win. And you can make some money, too, at betonline.ag. BetOnline has you covered for all the props, odds, and lines this season as football season continues to march toward the playoffs. Hopefully, we'll still have the ability to bet on those 49ers late into January. And if they keep playing like this, we will. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season and even beyond football. You've got college and pro hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, poker, blackjack, all your favorite Vegas casino games as well. So don't wait Take advantage of all the amazing offers and head over to the new updated desktop and mobile website at betonline.ag. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with promo code Locked On. That's promo code Locked On. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. Did you make some cash, Crocky, on this one?
I did. I was scared of the 9-point spread. But when the 49ers were up 7 at halftime, I went over. And I'm in Vegas. I'm at the sports book. So I go up and I say, what's the 49ers second half? And they said -3. So I basically just need the 49ers from the second half on to outscore the Falcons by 3 points. I said, give me that. Because I watched the game. I saw how it was going. I saw that the 49ers were clearly the better and more dominant team. And I expected them to build on the 7-point lead that they had at halftime. So, I just put a couple $100 down. Boom, they hit. And also I covered with the Bengals game. The Bengals were +3 for whatever against the Denver Broncos. I took that. So I only put in 2 bets today. Came up $400.
Yeah, I liked the Bengals bet this week. I liked the Patriots and was way wrong on that one. I didn't see the Colts coming. So the AFC is just up in the air, top to bottom. NFC a little bit clearer right now. Niners in very good shape for that 6th seed at the very least at 8-6. Obviously, the Falcons, now they have the Falcons are pretty much done at 6 and 8 now, 2 games behind the Niners. They would need some help from these other 4 teams that are still battling. And the Saints are currently playing as we're recording this in Sunday Night Football. And then you've got the Eagles Washington game that was moved, and then Minnesota on Monday Night Football. So we still don't know what's happening there. But to be honest with you, if I'm a 49ers fan, I'm looking upward. I'm not looking downward. I'm not worried about those teams because the Niners are in control of their own destiny right now. And only 1 game back of the Los Angeles Rams currently. And after the Cardinals lost, the Cardinals have slipped down to the 4 seed now. So right now, NFC West is 4, 5, 6 in the NFC. 2 games back, Croc. What do you think?
49ers dropped the ball. They dropped the ball.
Still there.
They dropped the ball against Arizona because they need so much help. If they just win one of those games, especially, okay, you got the one with Trey Lance, rookie. Okay, I get it. But when you're playing against Colt McCoy, the defense dropped the ball that game. Not even Jimmy. Jimmy played well. Defense dropped the ball. That was a game you had to have and split because now it's just, okay, who ends up with the better record down the line. Now, imagine if they would have lost that game. We're talking about a 49ers tied for first place, right? Because they'd have 5 losses. Arizona would have 5. 49ers would be in first place probably.
The 49ers, if they beat the Cardinals one of those times, the Niners and Cardinals right now would be tied at 9-5.
Come on. That was a game you had to have.
The Rams have COVID, and if they lose, they would be 9-5. So potentially a 3-way tie after this week for the NFC West if the Niners beat the Cardinals in one of those games.
Yeah, so that was a huge loss. And I think at the time it didn't seem like it was that bad. But I think that game may have put the 49ers at 2-4 on the season. So that was tough, but that was a tough one.
Yeah, that was a tough one. But still, the Niners in a pretty good place and should be looking hard at trying to get that 5 seed more so than even the 6 seed. And if you're looking for a reason why Trey Lance won't play in week 18, it's because of that. If the 49ers have an opportunity to leapfrog the Rams in playoff seeding in week 18, it's going to be Jimmy G, and the Niners are going to be going for it. And we already know that about Kyle Shanahan right now. So we'll find out how that goes for the 49ers looking ahead, but they're in good shape, in control of their destiny. They've only got to win one more game, and they're a near certainty to be a playoff team. Short week coming up against those Tennessee Titans. Croc, before we get out of here, though, we've got to give out some game balls in this one. And I think, to be honest with you, we can give them to individuals, but I want to start with just the entire to be honest with you, I would be fine getting out here and saying offensive line, defensive line, game balls. They dominated up front, 0 sacks of Jimmy G. They ran the ball with 5.2 yards per carry for Jeff Wilson, 21 carries for 110 yards. Deebo Samuel, another 6 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown almost looked too easy. How smooth is Deebo Samuel, by the way, running the ball?
He's explosive. He put his foot in the ground and he got –
yeah.
He's explosive.
He hits the corner and looks like everyone else is standing still. It's crazy. Yeah. But they dominated both lines. And they're better on both lines. And we said it coming in. They're better, and they've got to do that. And they absolutely did. And it wasn't just Nick Bosa in this game. Abel Com got in there. Arden Key got in there a couple times. Actually, hold on. Pause 1 second. Can we talk about that penalty? What'd you think about that roughing penalty on Arden Key falling on Matt Ryan? Like at a certain point, I don't know what you're supposed to do, because you've got to try to make that play.
No,
it was impossible.
It's trash.
To make that play.
It's trash, but that was the right call. He landed and drove his body weight into the quarterback. So I get it. It's in theory, it's like I've seen way worse and much more egregious, like just bad. Like, okay, that's definitely roughing the passer, but he did use his weight. The correct way to do it is later in the game where he kind of fell, but he had his hands out. He fell on the quarterback, but had his hands out and kind of rolled to show, like, I'm not driving him into the ground. I'm not using, like, with how they want the game played, that's the better way to do it. The first one, I hate it.
It was like
it was the right call in the sense of how they are calling it. So Arden Key, who has kind of shown at times to be a little undisciplined, you have to be more disciplined in that moment there, and not don't make it about you. Don't make it about trying to hurt the quarterback, because those days are over with. Everybody's gonna complain about it. I complain. Trash call, like, it is bad. But when I watched the replay and I kept watching it, it's like he did go to drive him into the ground, and they're gonna call that every time.
I mean, it was more like he didn't try to not land on him, because he dove. He was diving to make the tackle. He was diving to get to him, and he got to him. And I don't know where else he could have gone, because that's where his momentum.
No, but you could see kind of a.
But he just allowed himself to do it, and I can see what you're saying. He didn't try not to, but I don't think he was like grabbed him, drive him in the ground. He was just already airborne, so his feet were off the ground. I thought it was, and actually I was surprised. Gene Steratore, the CBS rules guy, they asked him about that on air, and he said that it was that he didn't feel like it was the right call because of that, because the momentum of the player was taking him into that, and it wasn't him trying to drive him in. But he also didn't try to not land on him like he did the other time, doing everything he could, which was smart. Right. So at least he's learning. He's learning. So good on Key to get back to the quarterback and learn and not fall on him the next time.
You gave out game balls. We definitely have to give one to Jaquiski Tartt. I mean, 2 big fourth down stops by him. One on the first drive on the out route. There was another one in the end zone where Josh Norman fell. Tartt ended up being right there. So he really contributed to 2 fourth down stops on the goal line, which easily could have been touchdowns. So big job. Great job by him. A guy who came back, his ankle was all wrapped up on that last one. He got his leg caught underneath him. I said, oh my gosh, that did not look good. And I know everybody's like, oh, he's always hurt. I mean, I think he gets hurt because of how he plays. He throws his body around and just doesn't care about his body. He puts it on the line every play. So on that play, it was one of the times Embry Thomas got bombed on. I looked at the replay and said, oh my gosh, we might not see him again. But he came back, and thank you for coming back, because he made a key stop late, and that definitely saved me my money.
That was in the fourth quarter, after I was tweeting about take the dang starters out. I mean, I don't know if Tartt's one of those guys that they're super worried about, but with his injury history, yeah, maybe that is a good time to get some backups in the game at that point. Although secondary a little bit more difficult, just because you know that they're going to be trying you deep. Offensive line, defensive line, Tartt. How about Fred Warner? I want to give one to
Jimmy Garoppolo, but yeah, Fred Warner. He's taken a lot of scrutiny this year. And I think he still plays well, but I think the standards are just so high for him, and maybe PFF, how they're grading him, I don't know. But to me, I thought he was flying around. He looked good. He was physical. He's looked like how he's looked all year.
He seemed like maybe he was a little extra revved up for this game. I don't know if there was anything personal, any reason why, but he felt a little extra revved up. He was all over the place. The fumble recovery, there was a pass defense in the end zone, which he's running the route for that tight end. He did hit the quarterback once, led the team in tackles. He was all over the place, and it was fun to see. And the 49ers needed to be good in the middle of the field in this game, and they absolutely were. But yeah, you're right. Jimmy G's got to get one.
Garoppolo. He has to. And I'll say this about Jimmy Garoppolo. Most people that are, I don't want to call them Jimmy Garoppolo truthers or whatever, but you know what I mean, the guys that consistently come to the defense of Jimmy Garoppolo, I think in their head how he played today is how he always plays. That is not the case. I think today he was much more consistent throughout the entirety of a game. He did a really good job of making all the throws that he needed to make to all levels of the field. He did a good job of creating when things weren't there. This was one of the better performances I've seen from him, or probably the best this year. Just playing at an extremely high level, hitting those deep over routes, hitting guys in stride. If you get that Jimmy Garoppolo consistently, this is a dangerous team come playoff time. So yeah, people are going to say like, well, that's always that's not what Jimmy always is. That wasn't what he was last week until the last 2 drives, late in the fourth quarter, and then overtime. But to see him do that over an entire game, that was definitely refreshing to see. And I never felt like I was worried about him at any point in this game. I could tell that he was cooking. Now, on the other side, could say, well, again, got to go back to the Falcons being last in DVOA or whatever it is on offense and defense. So this is a bad team, but he did what he was supposed to do. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he does against the Tennessee Titans defense that's playing really good football.
Yeah, I don't know if it was maybe extra focus. Maybe Shanahan was still pissed clearly about that 2019 loss and had a little extra with the pregame speech. But Warner and Garoppolo, it just seemed like there was a little extra focus. Maybe it's just because it wasn't a great opponent for the 49ers. But I think I nailed it earlier on in the week when I said that the Falcons are trash, and the 49ers proved it.
You said
beating the Falcons 31-13. Really important win for the Niners to take care of the games they have to win and now have an opportunity to maybe even leapfrog another team in the NFC. Who knows? But Croc and I will have it all broken down for you. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. It's going to be a quick turnaround, and we'll be back and looking ahead at this Thursday night primetime football game, 49ers at Tennessee Titans. Talk to you then, right here, Locked On 49ers.